Robbie Tarrant. Will he play this week?
I should. I mean, he's got to get through a training session, but all indications are good so far. So I doubt whether we'll make any changes, but we've certainly got a lot of options that we'll talk through. But as the cliche goes, it's hard to change a winning team. So the guys who are out there at the moment performing for us are doing the job.
Lockie Hansen, the most probably, I suppose, logical replacement if Robbie doesn't take his place.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I mean, Lockie's been in good form. We'd like to have Lockie in our 22, but at the moment there are just a couple of guys ahead of him. So he's going to be a really important part of our team, I suspect, in 2016 and beyond. So we'd like to get him in, but we'll see how Robbie pulls up. But
sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Tarrant, so it was his ankle. Did he have it looked at during the week or what?
Yeah, they've been looking really closely at it throughout the last few days in particular. And yeah, look, we think it'll be okay because when he rolled his ankle, it'd be more of a concern if he couldn't come back on the ground and it was really sore. But he played the second half and performed really well. So, as I said, I'll be surprised if he doesn't get up.
You've lost the last 3 against the Gold Coast, dating back to 2012. What is it about them that you find challenging?
Exceptional talent is one. They've got a lot of capability. They really back themselves the way they play. They've got great speed and great energy and youthful exuberance. So I think it's too simplistic to say we just haven't played well against them. But I think that's certainly been a factor, and they've played very well. Charlie Dixon kicked 7 last time, and Ablett got his usual 30 and 2 goals or 3 goals. So they've presented a challenge for us in the past, but we're a vastly different team to the teams that have taken on the Gold Coast in the past. And while it's going to be a huge challenge for us up at Metricon, it's one we're looking forward to.
Do you feel like with them losing May and being a little bit undermanned down back that you can maybe expose them a little bit, given how well your forward line is going?
Yeah, I think people would suggest that Rory Thompson and Stephen May are pretty significant omissions, but I think as people have alluded to throughout the week with the expansion clubs, they just tend to bring in new first round draft picks. So every first round draft pick they lose, they bring another one in. They got a production line of them. So I saw their NEFL team won by 108 points on the weekend. So I don't think they're scraping the barrel for depth.
You mentioned Gary's great record against the club, Brad. How do you approach him? Can you tag him, and is it still feasible to tag someone like that in the modern era?
Well, you can try. I mean, is he playing his best footy? Is he up to the level that he's produced in the past? Well, we have to plan for that. Because even what people describe as his average games are still very good games by anyone else's standards. So we'll probably put a couple of things in place because clearly some of the things we've tried in the past haven't worked. Some have been a bit better than others. So we'll have multiple options for him, as we did for someone like Nat Fyfe last week, and we were pretty pleased with how that went, even though Fyfe was a pretty dominant player.
How competitive is training at the moment with all the guys that are pushing for selection?
Yeah, it is. It's really competitive. I mean, our Werribee, our VFL side, had another really good win. So they've won their first few games of the year, and all the players from North that are playing for Werribee are in good touch. So we've got a good problem at match committee at the moment. But we've still got to pick the best balanced side we can each week. It's while the 22 are doing the job, and I don't suspect we'll look at changing things too much. We know that it's going to take at least a squad of 34, 35 players over the course of the year.
Can you talk about the impact that Daniel Wells has had for you guys so far this season?
Yeah, look, he's obviously he's a very good player. So I mean, when a good player comes back into your side, it's going to have an impact. But we really look at our midfield group and our forward group as operating as a unit, and he's really only been one component of that unit. But he does add better balance to our midfield, that's for sure. He allows some of our other inside midfielders to potentially play positions that suit them a little better. So, he's been terrific for us, but I would say no more important than Jack Zeeble or Ben Cunnington or Nick Del Santo or Andrew Swallow or any of the others.
Just to follow up to that, some of his stats, he's first in score assists, first in inside 50s, third at the club in tackles and second in clearances. They're pretty impressive numbers for somebody who's missed so much footy, aren't they?
Yeah, but I think our evidence in the past has been that he is he's a natural footballer. He doesn't take a long time to get his touch back or his his ability to read the play. I think if you go back to the first final against Essendon in 2014, he hadn't played, I think, for about 10 or 12 weeks in the build up to that final series, and he was clearly the best player on the ground to half time against Essendon in that final. So we've got history there tells us that he doesn't need a lot of footy to play at his best.
With the persistent nature of the injury last year, did you ever worry that he might not return, let alone return to his best? Yeah,
it worried me when I kept reading that he wasn't ever going to play again, because that's certainly not what we thought. No, it never really concerned me based on our information, and he was still really upbeat, and the important thing for him this year is he's had a really good preparation. So as good as he is, and as quickly as he comes to hand, all players at AFL level need a good prep, and Wellesley certainly had that.
Is it an advantage for you this weekend, Brad, that you've had a taste of Queensland conditions as recently as round 2?
I think so, just in terms of it's a similar time slot. The conditions up there are a little unique at this time of year, so the guys will certainly know what to expect, but it's another thing to be able to handle them. So we'll again go through very similar protocols to what we went through round 2, and I think we'll be really well prepared. There'll be no excuses due to the conditions up there.
For Zip, but you've mentioned you haven't quite hit your full stride yet. What's been the main focus on the training track?
All elements of our game. I mean, it's again always striving for the balance. I don't take too much notice of statistical evidence to round 4. I think you need a bigger sample size than that. We've had some really unique games, which have been high scoring. Both we've scored really highly, and the opposition have too, and the opposition have thrown different things at us as well. So, I think we'll continue to work on that balance, because some teams have really attacked us hard, which has given us a lot of opportunity to score ourselves. But they've been able to score a little bit as well. So I think footy is still evolving. I think footy will certainly keep evolving through 2016, and I'm pretty sure that it won't look exactly like it looks right now. So we're just going to keep working on the individual parts of our game that we think are important.
Just one on the broader game. What do you think about scrapping the grand final replay and having goal point rather than goal?
I think there are probably two issues there. I think scrapping the grand final replay, I think, is the first issue, and I think that has fairly overwhelming support, certainly from people who play and coach the game. And I think my personal opinion is that if you're fortunate enough to get a grand final ticket and you make that investment to go to a grand final, you're entitled to get a result on the day. So I think for the fans that's really important. And the second issue is whether it's if it's still tied after extra time, is it golden point or golden goal? And I think whatever you do, I think people are going to be unhappy with. So I think the AFL have, contrary to popular opinion, they've put an enormous amount of time into thinking about all the different scenarios. And Mark Evans is a common sense sort of guy, and I think what they've come up with at the moment is okay. And if we don't like it, then he's shown that he's open to change.
And just also on the 30-second shot clock, as we call it, with Ben Brown using 29 seconds of it. What did you make of that? And have you told him to be a little bit more discreet about it, maybe? No, I don't think he has to be discreet at all. I think the rules are crystal clear. The AFL brought in a shot clock and gave Brownie an exact time frame in which he had to kick the ball, and he just played within that. It's one of the few areas where the umpires don't have discretion. So. It would be really interesting if there wasn't a shot clock, whether the umpire would have called play on. I suspect he would have, even though it was within the 30 seconds. And do you think the AFL may change it, given players are now doing that?
I think they'll certainly look at it.
Was that a direction from the coaching staff, Brad, to milk up all that time?
No, it was a direction from Brent Harvey.
He's the coaching staff in the
He's an assistant coach, but a pretty good player as well.